Hey, what's up, Loyal, and welcome back to the Cover 3. I'm your host, Rob Fredrickson, and joining me is Sean Kilkenny and Brendan Highland. If you don't know what we do on the Cover 3, we go over three main topics in sports. So, guys, let's get right into it right now. Let's start with the NBA All-Star break. It was eventful. You know, you had the slam dunk contest, the skills competition, and the game itself. But, guys, we go back to the slam dunk contest every single year. It seems to be getting worse and worse. The players that enter, worse and worse. Do you think that slam dunk contest should be eliminated, Sean?
Absolutely. We go back to the 80s. We had Dr. J. We had stars participating. This year we had Chase Budinger. That's what you got for me? That's what you're offering on the ticket? Guys had 6 dunks all year. They're using props. It's getting overly ridiculous.
I mean, it's unfortunate to say, but I have to agree with it. The slam dunk contest, like you said, in the 80s was probably the event of highlighting All-Star Weekend, and for a lot of people, probably the event of the NBA season. And now you see people like Jeremy Evans, who, with no disrespect to him, I mean, I don't even know who he is. He doesn't even get time on the Jazz. You just have nobodies on the end of benches. Granted, they obviously are freak athletes, but it's nobody catching your eye. Nobody really grabbing your attention.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think unless the stars take this competition back into their hands, and we have LeBron James, we have Blake Griffin coming back to defend his title, I think that, you know, if you win the slam dunk competition, you should at the very least, be back the next year.
I think it should be mandatory.
I mean, mandatory unless barring injury, that's the only thing I could expect. You know, if LeBron wants to rest a sore ankle during the break, I can understand that.
Right.
But I do believe the stars need to take this competition back because it's a money generator. It's a revenue generator for the NBA, and it is entertaining at the very least.
I feel like a lot of people right now are highlighting the fact that LeBron's never done it, and I feel as though for LeBron anyway, if he does it by himself and he's like the main headliner, he's almost damned either way, because if he wins, everybody's going to look at it as, oh, LeBron won, he should have won. But if he loses, everybody's going to be on his case. So I think that if you do it, you got to have 4 or 5 big-name NBA superstars doing the event.
I agree. Drop the egos at the door. Do it for what's good for the game.
Exactly. And I don't think that LeBron would even receive as much heat as you'd think he would if he lost. I think everybody would just be happy that he participated. Right. We know he'd throw down some serious dunks if he did. So.
And the other thing is, I think that they got to do away with this whole, you know, you get as many attempts as you want, or it's too. There's too much gray area. Give him 30 seconds, make your dunk or 2 dunks or whatever. If you don't make them, time's up. You get a 0. Bottom line.
I mean, I'd say we try and go back to the old way it was, and you know, maybe we'll revive the dunk contest. But right now, it's a dying event in the All-Star Weekend. Guys, let's move out of All-Star Weekend and get back to the season, the teams. Deron Williams has always been a big story in New Jersey. We know he may not be there at the end of the season, but a new report came out today that the Mavericks are interested in him. He loves Dallas. It's his hometown. He loves playing in that arena. Will he be playing for Dallas next season?
I think he will. He's had a miserable time in New Jersey to date. Brook Lopez hasn't been much in the middle for the paint for him to distribute the ball. He's got Marshawn Brooks, Chris Humphries. Again, that's what you're giving him to work with. He wants someone like a Dirk Nowitzki, someone he could throw the rock to and he knows he's going to put it up.
Yep.
I think that this move is all dependent on whether or not New Jersey gets Dwight Howard. If they get Dwight Howard, it changes Deron Williams' mindset completely, and it should. But if they don't get Dwight, I think he's as good as gone.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, I think it's dependent on if they make a move in the offseason or before the trade deadline, preferably, because you never know if he's going to stick around in the offseason. But, I mean, they say he does plan. He's been hanging around the plans to stay in New Jersey and move to the Brooklyn Nets. He's excited about that transition. But if they don't have a team around him, I don't see him staying, and I think Dallas would be a great spot and a great fit for him.
I think that he's a guy, because he played in Utah as a smaller market, I think that he does like the limelight and like the attention, and I think the Nets going to Brooklyn, I think that appeals to him, but I think it only appeals to him if he has a good ball club around him.
Exactly. I think winning is number one.
I think winning is number one as well, and I think Cuban gives him his best chance with managerial moves.
All right, guys, so we're through halfway this season already. It was quick because of the NBA lockout, but let's make our second half predictions, Brendan. Who do you think is going to come out of the West at the end of the season?
I think at the end of the season, I think Oklahoma City, and I say that because they're 12-6 on the road so far this year. That's the best record in the West on the road. San Antonio's 11-9 on the road. The other teams are a little shaky on the road. So because of that, I think Oklahoma City will eventually win the West.
I like OKC too. We got Durant, you got Russell Westbrook, two guys that could put up 30 each on any given night.
Right.
And you got James Harden coming off the bench, probably the sixth man of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with OKC as well. I mean, you have teams right behind them. You have the Spurs, the Mavericks, and the Clippers. But I think that OKC is the strongest team. They've played together for a couple seasons now, and Durant is Durant. I mean, he's having another crazy season. He had an awesome All-Star game, hanging 36, and that was pretty impressive.
Rob, don't forget, you have Ibaka and you have Kendrick Perkins, two guys that can clog up the middle for you and play some quality defense.
I was just going to say, that's probably, starting lineup-wise, those are probably the two best defensive bigs in the league in terms of at your 4 and 5 positions. And that's, when you have that, and then on the perimeter you have Westbrook and Durant and Harden, guys that get out and run, that's a tough matchup for anybody.
Yeah, and Serge is leading the league in blocks with over 3.3 blocks per game. So
quality numbers.
Quality numbers. But guys, let's talk about the East, Brendan. Who do you think is going to come out of the East at the end of the year?
I think it's going to be the Bulls. I was looking at the schedule a little bit. They play Miami twice, or they play Miami 3 more times, but 2 of them are in Chicago. The rest of their schedule isn't too bad. They have Dallas here and there. They have Oklahoma City. But I think because they're just so good defensively, I think that that's really what's going to carry them over the hump.
I think it's got to be Miami. Not only can they play quality defense, which we saw they did against the Knicks, they also can score and they can get out on the run. And LBJ and Dwayne Wade are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and the reason I'm going to go with Miami as well, I mean, the Bulls are a great team, but number one, Derrick Rose hasn't been healthy the entire season. So if he's not on the floor, the Bulls really just aren't that same Chicago Bulls team. And like you said, the Heat they came into the All-Star break absolutely on fire. They had an unbelievable February. They won, I think, 10 out of 11 games by more than 10 points, which is probably the hottest the team's ever been coming into the All-Star break. And they have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, so that doesn't hurt.
It's not bad.
I think they're going to stay strong. They play defense. They run the floor, and the Miami are very strong. I think they're coming out of the East. But we'll see. We'll let you know. We'll keep you updated. Let's hop into Major League Baseball, guys. Opening day is 36 days away now. It just keeps coming closer and closer. I know we're all excited so we can get to Camden Yards. And the players have reported to spring training camp. But the biggest story in baseball right now just happened is Ryan Braun. He was proven innocent, guys. Now, what do you think? Do you find the outcome to be true?
I'm really not too sure, but the evidence that I have heard this far is I heard Ryan Braun offer to give a DNA test, and MLB turned him down for that. So this far, I got to give the advantage to Ryan Braun.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. Anytime that steroids come about, until I see proven fact, either by the physical appearance of somebody, which you can just tell, okay, he's probably juicing. Braun's not that guy.
Yep.
I mean, he looks just kind of like an average guy. I mean, tall, kind of slender. So it's not like you see it in his body build. And I believe him when he sat in front of the microphone and said, I've never put anything in my body that shouldn't be in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was skeptical about whether this was true or not when he was convicted, or when they said when it first came about.
Right.
But now I do believe Ryan Braun. I think that he is a stand-up guy. He said I live my life. I've been an honorable person my entire life. I believe him in this situation. I think that the fact that this came back, there's probably just something wrong in the lab. Something might have went wrong. Who knows? I mean,
Rob, don't forget, he was tested 3 times last season. He passed with flying colors every time.
I think that the one thing, though, that this does say to us about Major League Baseball is I think that they have to test more frequently, because testing 3 times a year, I don't think that that's enough. And, I hate to say it, but an example like this, where let's say that they tested once a month during the season, you have more samples so that if people are injecting stuff in their body, it's more likely to get, you're more likely to see it in the test results if you test them more frequently.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with that might be how expensive it is, but at the same time, I mean, I just don't see players really doing it at this stage, because we've seen how many players got outed in the past, 5 years, 6 years. You don't want to be one of those players. I think players have learned their lesson.
I mean, if you're a player doing it right now, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Also, I think this has been a PR nightmare for Major League Baseball. Absolutely. I mean, I think they handled it completely wrong, how Major League Baseball came out and basically said that they completely disagree. I don't think that's how Goodell would handle it in the NFL and how David Stern would handle it in the NBA. Not very democratic.
Absolutely not.
I would say that PR-wise, in the last decade, Major League Baseball has been way behind both the NBA and the NFL in the way they've handled things.
They had a few stories come out against them, that's for sure. But guys, what's next for Ryan Braun now?
I think he's got to focus on baseball. He's got to rally around his teammates and get lost in the season and look for him to put up quality numbers, because he's going to be really driven.
Yeah, I agree with that completely, and I think that he's going to have another star-studded year for Milwaukee, and I think that they could fly under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I think what's next for Ryan Braun is that he has to go and get another National League MVP. That's what his goal has been since a kid, and got one last year. He's just going to try and go get another one this year. Guys, another story in sports, in baseball right now, is Jason Varitek is announcing that he'll be retiring on Thursday. But Brendan, who should be the next captain of the Boston Red Sox?
Well, I know a lot of people are going to say Pedroia, but I would say Kevin Youkilis. You know, he's been through everything. The only team he's been with is the Red Sox. He's been a key cog for them on their championship teams. He's been through the rigors of everything. And to me, the way I've always seen him is he's the guy in that locker room that can kind of take control of things, grab whatever's going on and kind of just reel it all in and get the team focused.
I got to go Pedroia. He's a homegrown talent. He's come home with a couple of titles. He's an MVP caliber player. He's won an MVP award. So I got to go Pedroia.
I'm going to throw a wild card out here. I'm going to say nobody deserves to be captain right now. I think in baseball, it's a sport where you only choose a captain if it's really somebody who leads that team night in and night out. You have Derek Jeter for the Yankees. You had Varitek for the Red Sox. But until somebody steps up, especially with all the bad PR that was happening for the Red Sox with the alcohol in the clubhouse, I think until somebody steps up and leads that squad back to the playoffs, maybe that's when the captain should be decided. But if I had to pick, I would go with Pedroia. But we'll see what happens.
Well, clearly Varitek didn't do a good job last season. He was calling the pitches behind the plate, dealing with the pitchers day in and day out. And look what they were doing. They were boozing in the locker room.
I mean, right now, it looks to me, if you want to put a captain on it right now, I have to go with, this is going to sound cliche, weird, whatever, but Bobby Valentine for banning alcohol in the clubhouse, for this season. I think that's a smart move. But really, if the Red Sox want an impact captain, they really should just re-sign Manny Ramirez, not let him go to the A's, and have him lead the ball.
Yeah, let Manny be Manny. That's gotten them far.
You sense the sarcasm.
Got him a few rings, so why stop it?
Well, that's enough for MLB now that Brendan said that. Let's move into the NFL offseason. Guys, interesting news came out today. The Rams, with Sam Bradford as their QB, they have trust in him. They have faith in him. They're going to trade that number 2 pick, Brendan, but who should go up and trade for that number 2 pick?
Well, as much as I want to say my Cleveland Browns, I'm going to disregard them because I still have faith in Colt McCoy. I want to see what he can do with a healthy Peyton Hillis and with a healthy everything else and another year in the system. So I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins. You have Devon Best and Brandon Marshall on the outside. You have Reggie Bush in the backfield, and you have a good defense who can help win you games or at least keep you in games. Adding RG3 to that mix of talent, I see no reason why Miami shouldn't take that risk, if you want to call it a risk.
I got to go to the Redskins. And if we go back to the draft value trading board, the Dolphins sit at 8, the Redskins sit at 6. So instantaneously, they already have an advantage of what less they have to give up. And coupled with the fact they haven't had good quarterback play since Doug Williams and Joe Theismann, they need somebody that could throw a 15-yard out route with some velocity, get it to Santana Moss, get it to the playmakers, and it's got to be RG3. Mike Shanahan needs a guy that he could build in his system.
Yeah, whatever team gets him, or who knows, maybe RG3 will end up going first and Luck will be there second. But I'm going to go with your Browns, Brendan. I think that I don't believe in Colt McCoy. I know he's a great person and he's been a great competitor throughout his career, but I just don't know if he makes that transition as a top elite NFL quarterback. And I think RG3 or Luck both will be an elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, believe me, I wouldn't hate it if the Browns got RG3. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But I think that the other thing for the Dolphins is if you make this move, from a PR standpoint, it immediately puts a face to your franchise. That's something that they really haven't had since Ricky Williams, and even if you want to go before that, since Dan Marino. And at the quarterback position in the NFL, how many faces of franchise do we see in the NFL that's the quarterback? And when you bring it in and it's RG3 and it's somebody who is electrifying with his legs and with his arm, instantly everybody in that city just rejuvenates and gets behind the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think what's also interesting we have to keep a lookout for is that the Redskins and the Dolphins are 2 teams that are targeting Peyton Manning if he does become a free agent. So we're going to have to see what happens with that as well.
And side note, under the radar, you have Matt Flynn, a guy that put up quality numbers in Joe Philbin's system last year up in Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's move to another story in the NFL. Plaxico Burress, he's back in the headlines again. He wants to play for the Eagles next year, guys. How do you think this would work out for the Eagles? Do you think they should do it, Sean?
They have too many drama queens on that team as it is. They have Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Riley Cooper, already good wide receivers. I don't think they need to do it.
I don't think they need to do it. And if they really want a wide receiver, you're sitting in the draft at 15. Take Michael Floyd from Notre Dame. He's another big receiver like Burris. He's a little faster. He's obviously younger. He's going to come at a cheaper cost. If you want a receiver, take Floyd. But personally, I think that they have more problems on that team than worrying about another. Don't worry about another wide
Yeah, I
receiver.
agree completely. I think the Eagles should stay away from this. I mean, could just be another nightmare. I mean,
They don't need any more heads in that
Another
locker
headache,
room.
exactly.
At this point, they should just sign Dr. Phil to get all the personalities taken care
Well,
of.
I could agree with
They
that.
could use him.
So I think the Eagles should definitely stay away from this. And our last story is Mario Manningham, the Giants wide receiver. We know he made that magnificent catch in the Super Bowl. He's 50-50 on whether he's returned to the Giants or not. Sean, should the Giants let him walk?
What it really comes down to is an asking price. I mean, he said he might give a hometown discount, he might not. But if the asking price is too high, don't leave it up to Jerry Reese to say, take a walk. He has Jarrell Jernigan, a guy who's a third-round draft pick who they see with a lot of potential. They have Ramses Barton, a 6'6" guy out of Cali Powell from a couple years back who was a third-round draft pick. And also under the radar, look for Steve Smith, a guy that knows the Giants system and is going to be pretty cheap coming off a terrible year.
Absolutely.
Talk about hometown discount. How about Manningham comes to my Browns, comes back to Ohio where he grew up at. I think that. Do I think that they should let him walk? Again, like Sean said, it's dependent on the price. If he does walk, though, I think that he's going to have a lot of teams looking at him because he can do a lot of different things.
Yep.
But, man, I would love to see him in brown and orange.
Well, I mean, like you said, it comes down to asking price, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a little high, his asking price. I mean, he had a great he's the third wide receiver in the Giants, but he claims he could be a number one wide receiver anywhere else. So I think he almost owes it to himself to give himself that opportunity to try and be that elite wide receiver, because I just don't see, they're trying to keep Brandon Jacobs, O.C. Umenyiora. It's going to be tough for the Giants to hold on to him, and he might deserve this opportunity.
Yeah, they don't have much cap flexibility.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think that you're right. I think that he's going to have a very high asking price.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. He thinks he's an elite wide receiver. I think he owes himself that opportunity to go to another team because on the Giants, he's going to be that third wide receiver. And like you said, we have talent below him.
And Dominic Hickson's coming back
Exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, and Manningham, he could be a one on a lot of teams, if not a one, a viable two. So,
Viable too. 5'10" guys not get it done.
I mean, it's not.
at the number one.
It's not. I mean, but look at Walker. I mean, Walker for the Patriots, he's a one. He's 5'10",
Yep.
and Manningham
different
has
system.
the same shiftiness type deal that.
I mean,
Walker
I
has.
think our question is going to be answered in within a month or so. It seems like the Giants have to make a decision, and so does Manningham. So we'll keep you updated once again. But guys, that ends our show for the day. Anything you want to?
I'd just like to give a shout out to the men's and women's basketball team. Best of luck in the MAC tournament.
Took what I was gonna say.
Well, the Hounds, they're going up to Massachusetts this weekend. They play their first game Saturday at 7:30. They have a first-round bye for being placing second in the MAC, so congratulations to the men. And the women, keep doing your thing out there, and we'll be watching. Have a good week, Loyal.